My name is Mr. Hunt. That's my teacher name and my human name, because some teachers have real life human names. So my real life human name is Simon. I'm going to be talking about quick wins in the classroom. So here is my social page. So basically, I teach 4 days a week in class in year 3-4 Tottenham Primary School, which you'll see in a second. And on the other day, I've worked with different companies like ViewSonic, like different education companies. And I've written a couple of children's books as well. So going to schools with my children's book. Well, my main place, my Monday to Thursday, my main habitat is this place. So this is Tottenham Primary School. So we are a mainstream primary school with an SEN unit for children with physical disabilities. We're just outside North Manchester. It's my lovely school, a nice drone shot as well. And these are our wonderful children in my school. Now, my class, currently back home, still in lesson actually, they wanted to be part of my presentation. So they wanted to say hello. So this is my actual class. They decided they wanted to freeze before they said hello for some reason, but there we go. So this is my actual real life class that are in geography now. Here they are. They wanted to say hello to BETT. And this is where you're supposed to wave back, because some 7-year-olds have just waved at you and nobody waved back, okay? So these are my wonderful, wonderful children, okay? So I'm just going to talk about some quick wins that I've used in the classroom using some ViewSonic software and a few other tools to combine ViewSonic software and other things that I have in the classroom. So after Christmas, I always revisit place value because the kids have been off for a couple of weeks, but a great time at Christmas, and I just want to revisit place value before we move on to our next unit of maths. And the way I like to do that, first of all, is getting the children interactive and using some of the software that I have in classroom. So rather than giving them a random 3-digit number, I'll get the children to come up, hit the dice. We'll get a randomly generated number. And I'll say, right, guys, I need a volunteer to come up. I want you to write a 3-digit number. Using those digits, what is the largest number you can make with that? So there we go. So we get the pen tool. We've got 600. And there you go. So our number is 611. And then we'd shake the dice again. We'd go back, we'd shake the dice again, and we'd get another number, and we'd play and manipulate those numbers. So it's a really good tool to use. And what you can do is you can add extra dice, you can remove dice, you can change the amount of dice that you use. And again, it's a randomly generated number. And because I'm in year 4, we go to thousands. So I'd use, like you would use in White Rose, if you use White Rose, place value chart. And again, I'd get the children to come up, they'd hit the dice, a number. So what's the largest number? The children would write on their whiteboards. I'd get a child to come up. Then we'd go again, and we can use these numbers that the children have generated to do column addition, subtraction, or play with number. And because I'm in year 4, by the end of year 4, we have to sit a times table test where the children have to pass the multiplication check. So we use the dice as well. So what we'll do is we will get the children to come up, shake the dice, write 2 times 6, go, 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 quick as you can, 2 times 6, and the children will write on their whiteboards. So Ollie here, the great videographer, has been here all week. He came to my school to record this actually happening in my class. So this is my class doing this lesson. Here they are. So let's just go back. So again, what they do, I would get the children up and say, right, who would like to shake the dice? They come up, they hit the dice, we write numbers, we do column addition, column subtraction, do some whiteboard work, getting the children. So rather than, again, me just giving them a number, by them creating the number, they're just a bit more actively engaged in what we're doing. It's just a bit more fun as well. And as you can see here, we've got lots of smiles as well. Lots of smiles, lots of children engaged, getting up, writing answers on their whiteboards. And again, as a teacher, I can move in and out and check their knowledge and understanding of place value. Have they nailed addition, subtraction from just before Christmas? Who needs additional support before we move on to the next unit? So a few of the tools that's embedded within the software, within ViewSonic software, which you can download for free, is a few tools that I'm going to share with you now. So one of the tools I use in class is this split screen. So by hitting this button here, you can split your screen. And sometimes I'll have the children coming in, we'll have a different activity, 3 different writing activities, and we can split our screen into 3 sections. Sometimes we'll just have a bit of fun and play a bit of noughts and crosses, or tic-tac-toe if you're from America. So get the children coming up. I'm quite competitive as well. I'd have a go. But again, just by hitting that little tool at the bottom, you can split your screen. It's great for phonics, writing, lots of different things you can add more split screen. You can have up to 6, and you can just split it into 2. Now, a couple of other tools that are embedded within the software is this tool, which actually we mentioned this morning. By hitting the microphone tool as I speak, this is during a guided reading session, all the words I'm saying are going across the screen. So those children that maybe struggle with hearing impairments in class, or maybe they might have missed something that I've said, they can see all the words that I'm saying going across the screen as I'm speaking with a little microphone inside here. And another tool, because we're an inclusive school, so quite often some of our children have visual impairments, what I can do is I can export my slides using a little QR code. So this is one of my lessons that we did just before last year. We would export my slides, we would hit the little QR code here, and export the slides like a PDF document. And what I do, I would scan, beep it there, and then I'd take it to my child and I'd give him the slides, and he can zoom in and out. Because what I used to have to do is I used to have to print off in A3 and A4, like large pieces of paper for him to see. But now he can zoom in and out, and look at the work. And this is Charlie, he says, awesome. So this is one of our children. So there, he's able to zoom in and out of the work that he needs. So that's just a couple of tools that I like to use. And another tool that I love to use is mirroring my screen, so mirroring my iPad. Because as a teacher, I want to be in and amongst the children. By mirroring my iPad, I can do lots of different things and be in amongst the children, in amongst the learning. So I mirror my iPad. Let's just go back here, zip back here. And what I can do is, this is one of my guided reading lessons. I can take screenshots of documents of children's work or anything that the children are working on, hit a screenshot, and then I can just use the annotation tools in here. And the day before we were looking at that, we needed to understand the meaning of the word loch, which is, it's a Scottish word for lake. So I could highlight, annotate, cross things out, annotate work. We can edit work, we can do anything we need to do, just live annotation. So that's by taking a photograph using the mirroring on that device. Okay, there you go. See, that was just before Christmas, actually. And then also what we can do, because we can mirror our device, I can, hopefully I caught, yeah. So we use White Rose in our school. So I can use my PowerPoint presentation and go through, or I can export it to the screen. Or what I've got here is the PDF of the children's booklet. So I can move in and out, zoom in and out, focus on particular things and work with the children and highlight things with my laser pen or circle things. But I can also hand the iPad to the children, and what the children can do, they can then lead the lesson. They can then talk through what's happening. We have a microphone as well, which pumps the sound around the classroom. We can highlight things, and the children can explain their reason and understanding of a mathematical concept. And it works wonderfully well. Again, that's just mirroring my device to my ViewSonic screen. And they do it very well. There they go. I can also just have a notes app on my iPad, and I can move in and out. So again, reinforcing that column addition and subtraction. The children are just working on a whiteboard, just a quick session before the day starts. And what I can do is I can move in and amongst the children and see exactly what the children are doing. So over here in a minute, you'll see one of the boys here. He started doing his column addition. He started on the right-hand side first. So I was able to say, no, start on the left. So I was able to, rather than later on, or I could have missed it, because I'm in and amongst the kids and in amongst the children, I can tackle it at the point that it happens. And also the children are very comfortable. My children are 7 and 8-year-old. They can talk through the lesson the other way. So I can hand the iPad to the children. I can get a coffee at the side of the classroom while the children are leading the lesson. But again, it's the children leading their, showing it, being able to express and vocalize what they've been doing in class. There you go. And they're very comfortable doing this. And because in my classroom, we have 2 screens in our classroom, we're very lucky to have 2 screens. I can run 2 independent lessons. So I've got year 3s on this side working together, leading lessons, just using the software here. So this is just using the annotation tools. So these are my year 3s. And on the other side of the classroom, I've got my year 4s working together. So they're on the next step. Then there's my year 4s. So they're working independently. So I've got 2 separate lessons going on. And I'm not even delivering the lesson. I've got 2 groups of children that are delivering the lesson too. Okay, now I'm just going to talk about camouflage learning. So what I like to do is I like to do fun things with number, just to get the children excited and wanting to play with number. So camouflage learning is a way of the children learning without realizing. So to the children, I'm going to show a couple of games that we played in class. They'll go home, parents will say, what did you do today? Oh, we just played Angry Birds, Mr. Hunt. We just did some games in class. Or actually, I was testing their knowledge and understanding of place value. I was testing how quick they can recall their times tables. They just have no idea. Camouflage learning. So what this is BETT series. So I mirror my device. I ask the children a question. I ask the children a question. They've got to answer before Siri answers as quick as possible. They're all cheering. They're learning times tables. They're actually cheering. So what's 3 times 9? They're trying to answer as quick as possible before it comes on the screen. Now, have you ever tried to get the children to learn times tables? You don't often get them fist pumping and excited about learning their times tables. There we go. So I did one of the trick questions and they started to get it. Okay, and then the other thing I do is we play games in class. So children love Angry Birds. So what I do is I use an augmented reality game, Angry Birds. I will have a game in the middle of class. I'll shoot, I'll create a score. And once the score is created, it'll total up. And once we've got that total score, I will screenshot that score. Again, I'm just mirroring my device. I'll screenshot it. And I'll now use that number. I'll write, right, children, what's that number? Who can read that number? Mr. Hunt, it's 26,000. Where's your tens? Where's your ones? Where's your thousands? Where are your tens of thousands? And they're excited to play with that number. And then I'll get volunteers to come up and say, right, who wants to have a go of Angry Birds? Who doesn't want to go of Angry Birds in the middle of a lesson? So the children will come up. This is one of my guys here coming up in a second. There they go. They're just writing the number. Now I can check their knowledge and understanding of place value. And then I'll get the volunteers coming up. They'll have a go of Angry Birds as well. There we go. So this is one of my children. She's getting the score here. Here's her score. So I think she got 25,500, if I remember rightly. Yeah, so she gets that score. So what we'll do is we'll compare those two numbers. Okay, children, which is the biggest number? Which is the smallest number? What if we added those two numbers together? What number do we get? Oh, we get this number, Mr. Hunt. My number's bigger than your number, but by how much? How could we work out that? Could we do different methods? Could we use a number line? Could you use column addition, column subtraction? There's lots of different things we could do with those numbers. And again, these are numbers that children have created. They've had fun. They'll go home. Parents will ask what you've done. We've played Angry Birds. We've tried to beat Siri. We've had fun. But actually, there's been a lot of learning that the children just didn't realize was happening. And this is what I call camouflage learning. There you go. And they're talking it through. And you can do that with pretty much any game where you get a score. There's lots of different games. So use the children's interests. If they're interested in a certain game, use the score of that game. Tap into their interests. And also, they love it when they beat you as well. Now, the resource I just shared with you before, the place value resource, and other resources I've shared online, scan that QR code. You can download my slides onto my view board. I've got a walkthrough of exactly how I created the resource, so the little dice and the other parts of the resource that I created. There's a walkthrough there exactly how to use that resource. Again, those are my Facebook page. So get in contact with me, send me messages. I try to reply to as many people as possible. I'm always learning every day. This morning when I was speaking to Laura and Thomas, we had a chat this morning. There's things I'm going to do in class next week. Noun projects. I'm on the Noun project. If you don't know what the Noun project is, speak to Laura, but I'm going to give it a go next week. And I'll do the same as what you guys do. Listen to different talks, take it in, soak it up, and then try it next week in your class or go home and have a play. So I just thought I'd share some quick wins that I use in my classroom on a daily basis. Thank you very much.